Welcome, bienvenidos. This is Roxana from Metamorphosis Rocks, and today we're going to talk about a little topic that has to do with how every generation goes through this, but basically what happens is we all think that we invented something. And so I want to talk about this a little bit. So let me take you back to the 1980s, okay? Back in the 1980s, we had a phase. I want to say I was like 14 or 15 when the miniskirt came back. Now, just for you all to understand the concept of where my brain was at. My mother came to the United States in the 50s, and I believe she stayed here until the late 50s. She didn't even stay. She came in the 52, and by 57, 58, she was already back in Puerto Rico. But one thing I do remember is looking at old albums and old pictures of my mom and seeing the different fashions and loving certain things like the A dresses and some other things. But I do remember that in the 60s, my cousins, who are maybe 8, 9, 10 years older than me, had miniskirts. And of course, I was born in the 60s, so I did not live through that phase of the miniskirt. But later on, when I was in the 70s and 80s, Twiggy was still popular, and I saw pictures of her with miniskirts, and I loved how they looked. So when the miniskirts came back in fashion in the 80s, I was elated. Of course, we didn't have social media, we didn't have cell phones, but there was always somebody that thought they invented something. Well, I decided to bring the skirts up, blah, blah, blah. Some designer will come and claim that they invented miniskirts when we all know they didn't, okay? Well, that now happens in a global scale. We have social media, and we have a lot of ignorant people who think they invented things that they did not invent. So fast forward to 2025, and I'm scrolling through Facebook, as one does, and I saw this course being given by a website that I follow. And I love their content, I love their products, but it kind of was a little jarring. And keep in mind, I'm not going to unsubscribe because of one video of one product that I don't agree with. That's not a thing that's going to happen. But it's an art website. And one of the things that I have always said about drag queens, about art, about famous cooks in restaurants, famous hotels, architecture, fashion, clearly, because I study fashion, is that you should know the history of whatever it is that you're claiming you're being an expert at. So this person was advertising their product, which was a course to teach people how to paint without a drawing first, meaning there was no sketch on the paper or whatever surface you're going to paint. You're just doing it freehand. Freehand painting has existed since the beginning of time. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that this person is not aware, because I'm pretty sure if they have something very unique to their technique, that maybe that's why they're calling it what they're calling it. And to be honest with you, I went back to the website, to the Facebook page for the website to see if I found the ad, but unfortunately I couldn't find the ad. I do recall that this person was talking like she had invented something. And it cracked me up because, we always see this, oh, well, what would millennials do? And oh my God, the boomers and this and the other, this, that, and the other. The reality is that we get a reputation because we do these things. When I was growing up, Generation X was considered the lazy ones. When my daughter was growing up, the millennials were being considered the lazy ones. And of course, now Generation Alpha and Generation Z are called the lazy ones. Mainly because we learned how to use technology as we went, and the generations before us didn't have that kind of technology. And I understand that, so I'm not talking about that. I am talking about the fact that you get a reputation if a lot of your people do certain things. And of course, millennials, Generation Z, Generation Alpha are at a disadvantage because we have social media, so you can hear that a lot louder than, for example, my generation, because we had magazines, we had newspapers, we had TV, and that was it. We didn't have social media. So if we decided to claim that we invented something that wasn't invented by us, nobody was going to say anything. But in your case, you do. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this for two reasons. If you are Generation X or older, have a little grace with the newer generations, because clearly they are either ignorant of the history or they are willfully ignorant because they're trying to get their face out there. Okay, let me say it that way. But if you're Generation Alpha, Generation Z, Millennial, before you do something, study it. Learn a little bit about the history. Google is free, and I realize there's a lot of misinformation on social media and Google now because, of course, everybody and their mother thinks they have the facts. But there are ways that you can figure out if the information that you're seeing is good or not. And what I would suggest you do is you get several sources that confirm the information so that you know that what you're saying or what you're doing is true. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the reality is that I would have a lot more respect for this particular artist if in the promotion she would have said, yes, there has always been freehand methods of painting without making a sketch first, or whatever, however she wants to say it. Let me teach you how I do it. I would have had a lot more respect for that approach than for basically trying to tell me that you invented something without telling me the rest of the story. This is true for everything in life. Maybe your generation will eat it up and won't care, but there is a level of integrity and a level of respect that people earn that is a lot easier to earn if you tell the truth. That's my message for today. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.